Would you look at this? An A2 bike that doesn't suck. Welcome everyone to our first impressions ride review of the 2025 Royal Enfield Guerrilla 450. Now you guys, this is one of those bikes that actually has seriously exceeded expectations. It's one of those motorcycles that I think looks really nice. It's arguably one of the nicest looking motorcycles in Royal Enfield's lineup right now. And I'll tell you what, it's a neat little package, for a retro, modern little off-roader. This bike has got quite a lot going for it. That single cylinder 450cc engine is actually quite the little package. It's producing a lot of torque and it has some higher RPMs as well. And it's liquid cooled, which is a very nice addition. I always find that liquid cooled bikes, they always have a little bit extra in the RPM department, and they're producing just a little bit more of that top end horsepower that you so desperately need on a little bike like this. But yeah, that engine perhaps is the most surprising part of this motorcycle. But in terms of the way it looks, you guys, it's a very rugged utilitarian design. So yeah, you've got the off-road suspension here with these massive seal covers. You've got big knobbly tires. You've got a center stand as well, which is a really neat addition here. But all of it is very rugged looking. Everything is very metallic, even to the pillion handles and the helmet hooks. I think for a very specific type of audience, a motorcycle like this is the perfect combination of retro styling with some modern elements. You know what, the more I look at it, the more I'm starting to appreciate the way how this bike looks. This motorcycle was very kindly provided by Frasers Motorcycles. We'll talk more about them in a little bit, but now it's time for us to have a little listen to the soundtrack of this bike, which actually, it's a nice little sound. It's on the quieter side, but I think for the audience that this bike is meant for, I think it's actually the right amount of sound. Quite a nice dashboard here as well, very modern looking dashboard, full color TFT. I love this dashboard from Royal Enfield. It's very, very nice to look at. All right, here we go. You see what I mean? It's not too garish. It's a nice sound, but it's a sound that the rider can appreciate without, well, annoying anyone else. Yeah, man. That is a very nice sound. For a single cylinder, I think you can't get much better than this for sound. See, the thing is, you guys, that these days I'm kind of past A2 bikes, It gets to a point where, I don't know, A2 bikes, they don't really satisfy, they don't scratch the itch that you're desperately after. But having said that, when I get on a bike like this, I'm actually so pleasantly surprised at what it's capable of, even though it's a smaller bike, smaller engine. But hey, I love me some torque. So when you get a bike like this that has got a juicy amount of torque and a nice amount of horsepower as well, it's just a breath of fresh air, There are so many A2 bikes out there these days that just have got no power whatsoever and they're just a little bit meh. But this, surprisingly enough, is actually a pretty decent riding experience even for someone like me. Anyway everyone, as always, let's go ahead and talk about the ergonomics of the bike. It's a very comfy place to be, It's one of those motorcycles where you're kind of in a cruiser like riding position, a very wide grip at the handlebars, a very nice squishy seat. There's a slight bend at the knee past 90 degrees, but I'd say at 90 degrees actually. It's perfectly comfortable. All the weight is on your bum rather than on your back or on your wrists or your knees. And it's a nice easy reach on the handlebars. In terms of the height of the bike, the seat height is, I think, quite approachable for the vast majority of people. I'm 5'11", 6 foot on a good day, and I'm easily able to flat foot either side of this bike, no problem at all. So yeah, from an ergonomics perspective, I think this is a very, very nice place to be. Royal Enfield, they certainly know how to make a comfy motorcycle. And well, we'll be shooting another video at some point comparing this to the Bear 650, which is the bike that I had a go on last year. But one thing that I've noticed immediately between this bike and the Bear is that the seating position is much narrower than on the Bear. It's a far more natural riding position in terms of having to open your knees. You don't have to open them anywhere near as much on this bike than you do on the Bear. So it's just one of those things to keep in mind, because on the Bear 650 it kind of felt like I was trying to straddle a horse rather than a motorcycle. So it's nice that Royal Enfield have got this right. It does feel significantly more natural on this bike than it did on the Bear. But yeah, man, I mean, we'll leave all of that for another video. But I'll tell you what, the one thing that I was actually surprised about is, like, for some reason I thought this was a parallel twin, and it's not. It's a single cylinder, which is crazy, the amount of torque and horsepower that you're able to get out of this single cylinder. It does remind me of the DRZ4 a little bit from Suzuki. It's really, really cool. Today's ride out was very kindly provided by Frasers Motorcycles. If you live in the Gloucester area or the surrounding counties here in the UK, definitely come and check them out if you're looking to buy any new or used motorcycles. They've got a huge showroom for you to feast your eyes on, plenty of stock available, and loads of demos available, just like this one, for you to test ride right now. So if you wouldn't mind checking them out after this video, I would really appreciate it. And when you do visit, don't forget to say hello from me. And you see what I mean about where classic styling meets modern styling. So we've got the knobs and buttons here, which do have that traditional Royal Enfield look, but they're much more modern looking, if you know what I mean. They're nicer to look at for me than on the Bear 650 as well. But everything about it, it's like got a matte finish to it in a lot of places, which again screams ruggedness, utilitarianism. And I mean, one thing that you may have noticed, or you may not have noticed, is that it's not spelt gorilla like the animal gorilla. It's spelt gorilla like guerrilla warfare, which I thought was pretty cool. A nice little Easter egg there for you. And this bike is kind of full of Easter eggs, to be honest with you. Having that center stand there, again, I didn't even notice that it was there, but it's such a nice addition to have, you guys. Alright everyone, before we jump into some 0 to 60 runs, let's talk some specs. So this is the 2025 Royal Enfield Guerrilla 450. It's running a 452cc single cylinder engine, which is producing 40 horsepower at the crank and 40 newton meters of torque, all whilst weighing in 185 kilograms wet. That is a neat little spec sheet, I have to say. The thing is, like, this is well in line with the competition, you guys, in terms of the feel, the performance. This is up there, definitely. And yeah, the weight is there as well. It might be slightly on the heavier side in comparison to other A2 class motorcycles, but that's a really compelling spec sheet right there. And this bike, even though it is smaller, when you're actually in the cockpit and you're riding it, it doesn't feel that small to ride. It feels like a much bigger bike than it really is, but it is incredibly nimble. I mean, that is the one thing about A2 bikes that I'll never get bored of, is just how you can throw them into bends so easily and just have so much wicked fun with them in the twisties. Yeah, man, it's a great little riding experience, this. Alright, so 0 to 60 time. Now, this is going to be quite a slow 0 to 60. Yes, we have got quite a decent RPM limit. I think it's like 8,250 RPM maximum. but the gearing is a little bit on the shorter side, which is nice for the torque feeling, but not so great for top speed. But so I think we're going to be in third gear. We're in the performance mode. Third gear, I think about 6 second 0 to 60. Let's see. Here we go. There we go. Yeah, top end of third gear, mind you. Top end of third gear, so you can only just get up to 60 mile an hour in third gear. Right, let's see if we can have a better launch. Here we go. There we go. Alright, let's see if we can do one more run. I've got to see if I can upshift a little earlier in first as well. I hit the RPM limit a little bit too quickly there. Alright, here we go. There we go. That's better. That's better. It's so nice to have the extra RPM headroom on a bike like this. And in a single cylinder package as well. Yeah, man. Very, very nice indeed. I mean, it isn't the fastest thing in the world. These bikes are not designed to be quick bikes at all. I don't think you could get much more out of it, maybe with a smoother, more hard launch. But the thing is, you're having to upshift in the second gear so quickly that you just don't get a lot of push off the line in first gear. Not really. Again, great for the torque, but not so great for getting as much speed as possible in first gear. But once you start going through the gears, this bike does do quite well. So quite an admirable 0 to 60, I think, but certainly not the quickest for an A2 bike, that's for sure. It'll be roughly on the same level as the Bear 650 as well. Sorry, I can't help but make comparisons as I'm out on the ride when I think about them, just because, you know, that's the only other Royal Enfield that I've had the privilege of riding so far. But yeah, man, this is a good. It's a good street bike, but with these knobbly tires, I mean, I don't know. Let's have a look here. It's a bit better, isn't it? Yeah, man. Oh, big hole there. I mean, yeah, when you've got knobbly tires, I mean, it certainly does give you a lot of confidence on a terrain like that, where it's, especially these days where it's very muddy and sloshy, you know, it's not hard ground at all, it's very soft. But oh, I love second gear on this bike. It's got a surprising amount of punch in second gear for a single cylinder. Yeah, man, it's pretty good. Anyway, let's pull over here and let's have a little look at the dashboard, you guys, because I think where Royal Enfield are leading the pack quite a bit is in their tech package. Let's go ahead and cut the engine for now. So you've got this lovely full color TFT dashboard, but the refresh rate is okay, but you are hitting the RPMs before you're actually seeing them on the dashboard, which is a little bit of a shame, but you know, it is what it is. So here you've got your mode button. So you've got performance and eco mode. You've got a hazard button there, which is pretty cool. Brake, nice. It's a nice feeling brake, but it is on the spongier side. It doesn't feel quite as direct or as strong as other bikes that I've ridden in this class, but it's a decent brake. Throttle wise, so this is obviously an electronic throttle here. It's decent throttle response, but it would have been nice if it had a little bit more throttle response. There is a slight delay between you twisting the throttle and the throttle's actually opening and you're actually getting the power. So you've got a Type C USB connector there rather than a Type A, the big square box one. So that is nice to see as well for a modern day motorcycle, especially because this dashboard, you can attach your phone to it and Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, I believe. You can do both of those. I'm not sure if it's wireless or if it's wired. I'm pretty sure it's wireless. So it's nice that they've added this Type-C connector here for you to charge your phone. So here you've got, yeah, your high beams, your low beams, your indicators, horn. Oh, that's a neat little horn, isn't it? And you've got your home button or your back button here. So in terms of the dashboard, so in order to access the dashboard menu, you have to go up like this with the little joystick, and you've got your settings here. So you've got appearance, and you push in to select. So golden line, that's just this area of the dashboard here. Background, so you can have a light theme or a dark theme. It's a shame that you can't select the light theme, but I actually quite like the dark theme with this bike. It matches the aesthetic quite well. Brightness of the display, I've got it on max brightness at the moment. It's not the brightest display in the world, and I haven't got the sun out today to demonstrate that, but it's bright enough and it's clear enough. But on a sunny day, you might struggle to see it a little bit. Screen types, you've got analog and digital. We might leave it on digital for now. Let's see how that goes. So what else have we got here? So that's just in appearance, trip preference, reset trip, analog content, digital content, my vehicle. So this is where you can select all of the different menus here, all the different gauges. So yeah, trip 1, trip 2, fuel range, your MPG, which by the way, this bike has got a crazy MPG. It's done 418 miles on the odometer, and it's got an 81 MPG average. That's UK MPG, which I thought was quite impressive, to be honest. System, clock, speed, distance, fuel consumption, temperature, yeah, Celsius or Fahrenheit, language, factory reset, information, notification, firmware, and favorites, which is blanked out, so I'm not entirely sure how that is meant to work. So with the digital dashboard, so here is where you normally see the Android Auto. But yeah guys, all in all, a quite neat tech package for an A2 motorcycle. You are missing out on a quick shifter, which I suppose for a bike like this isn't strictly necessary, but again, would have been nice to have. Woo! See, even for this B-road, A-road riding, it's got plenty of power, plenty of torque, plenty of horsepower. It's just that first gear really lets it down a little bit. But yeah, I think Royal Enfield, I think they've done well with this one. And it wouldn't surprise me if this is their most popular model at the moment. No adjustable suspension, unfortunately, as far as I'm aware, or on the front or on the rear. In fact, no, it's got a monoshock, hasn't it? So it might have some adjustment on the rear shock. But yeah, man, I like it. I like this bike a lot. One thing that is quite funny is if you're riding the bike and you hold down the mode button, you get an error message that comes up saying mode change denied, retry in next ignition cycle. No, you don't have to do that. All you need to do is just come off the throttle and push it. Oh no, you don't. Okay, you have to be at a standstill then, I suppose. Or maybe if you pull in the clutch. Yeah, if you pull it, you come off the throttle, put in the clutch, then unless you change the mode. So at the moment I'm on the performance mode. Am I in eco mode then? No, it doesn't let me. So when I select it, it actually defaults back to the mode that you had previously. It's a bit of a shame, to be honest. you should be able to change the rider modes whilst you're on the go. It's annoying that they manufacturers, they so-called cock block you like that. Because imagine if you're in the eco mode and you're on the ride, you get to a piece of road that you're like, ah, here we go, I can open up the taps now, and you can't change the rider mode whilst you're on the go. Bit of a shame. Maybe if I left it there with the clutch in a little bit longer, it would go, but yeah, it's a shame. More often than not, there is a way that you can change the power mode of the bike whilst you're on the move. Some manufacturers, they require you to just close the throttle, so you're slowing down, then it will let you change the mode. Others will just let you change the mode whether you're on the throttle or not. You know, whether you're on the go, whether you're at a standstill, whatever the case might be, they'll let you adjust your power mode as and when you feel like it. So yeah, I mean, the thing is, so there are certain niggles here and there about the bike, but there's nothing really that would put me off this bike. You know, there's no deal breakers here for me. You've got a really nice engine, really torquey, really punchy, decent RPMs, liquid cooled, decent performance, decent weight, with a very, very nice tech package, and for a fairly decent price as well. We'll talk about the price a little bit later on, but there's a lot to like about this motorcycle, especially if you are into this retro off-roader, retro styling. Yeah, I like it. I like it an awful lot. The thing is, this isn't a bike that I would buy, because I'm kind of, like I said in the intro, I kind of past these bikes now. But if I put myself in the shoes of someone who is an A2 rider, then honestly, I can wholeheartedly recommend a bike like this. I can't speak for its reliability. Royal Enfield don't exactly have the best reputation for reliability overall, but this is a new bike, 2025, 2026 models. They should be perfectly fine throughout their warranty period, so you shouldn't have to worry about that. But in terms of the experience, which is what I can comment on right now, I think it's bloody good. Bloody good indeed. With the features you're getting, with the fun, nimble nature of the bike. Yeah, I think if you're good with doing clutch ups as well, you can do some stunts with this bike pretty easily. It's got more than enough torque there to do it. Not quite enough for a throttle up, at least not for someone of my weight. I'm weighing in about 90 kilograms at the moment, which is far too heavy for someone of my height. Yeah, no, I should be closer to 75, 80 kg, but that's neither here nor there, you guys. But what I'm saying is, if you were a lighter, smaller rider, then you probably get a lot more out of the torque. It's a shame because there's definitely torque here, but going back to the throttle response, I think the throttle response is what lets it down ever so slightly. Where, you know, if you give the throttle half a second or so to open up a little bit, then that's when you're getting the power. But yeah, you're not getting immediate performance. Well, you guys, I'll tell you what, for a winter rider, I think this bike is perfect for this environment, you know, where you're kind of on the cusp of freezing temperatures. I mean, right now it's 10 degrees C, but you whack on some heated grips on this bike, yeah man, I think winter is where this bike was meant to be. These difficult times of year for basically riding anything else. You know, you ride a super sport or something like that, well, you're asking for trouble this time of year, but on a bike like this, it really does fill you with confidence with those tyres. So yeah, I really like it. I really like this bike. Yeah, oh gosh, the road conditions are awful, but in a bike like this, I don't really care so much. Because I think the ride of this bike is not hard. It is on the softer side. So from a comfort perspective, it's quite a nice place to be. But you guys, let's talk price, because again, this is where I think Royal Enfield have done very, very well for themselves. In the UK, you can pick up one of these bikes for 5 grand, 5k. That's it. For quite a lot of bike, to be honest. I think it's worth it. You know, we had a go on recently, the 457 Tuono from Aprilia. That was good as well, but it was more on the expensive side. It was like 5.5 to 6k, I think, if I remember off the top of my head. So Royal Enfield, they are certainly there when it comes to, well, yeah, the pricing of their of this bike in particular anyway. For an A2 class motorcycle, I think they priced it very, very well. So yeah, I think honestly this bike gets my seal of approval, you guys. It's a very, very neat riding experience for an A2 class motorcycle. I think this is probably one of the nicest, one of the best riding experiences you can have. Because like I said, there are so many A2 bikes that have just got no power whatsoever. They've got nothing. Nothing at all. So it's nice to see a bike like this, similar to the DRZ from Suzuki, even though it's just single cylinder, that it's got all of that punch, it's got all of the horsepower, all the torque that you could ever want from an A2 bike, rather than feeling like you're missing out on performance. If you understand what I mean. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I think this bike has got a lot of appeal. Not just looks wise, but actually in the hands, you know, the riding feel is there as well. And I think that's for me is what makes this bike good. I don't necessarily care about looks. As if you've seen any of our reviews before, I don't care about looks of a bike anywhere near as much as I care about the riding experience. And I'm pleased to say that the riding experience of this bike is one that I really enjoy. I dig it. Yeah, I like it an awful lot, you guys. Which I honestly didn't think I would be saying today about this bike. Because Royal Enfield for me have been a little bit disappointing. But this is not one of those bikes. This Royal Enfield, they've done really well with this one. Anyway, let's have one last listen to the soundtrack. So it sounds like I'm hitting the limiter, I'm not. Well, maybe I am actually, but yeah, the dashboard isn't able to catch up. So see what I mean about how there's a little bit of a time delay between what you're doing on the throttle and what it's showing on the dashboard. You know, it is what it is with some of these displays, but I prefer to have this type of display than to have an old-fashioned digi display. But yeah, very nice sounding bike. The exhaust looks really big when the bike is on the kickstand, but it's quite actually a narrow exhaust, isn't it? Yeah, you guys, I really like this bike. I think it's got a lot of charm. I mean, whilst we're here, let's see how easy or hard it is to pick up onto the centre stand. Oh, very, very easy. Yeah. Very easy indeed. I love this bike's got a centre stand. Look, for chain maintenance, you know, easy maintenance of a motorcycle. It makes a lot of sense, you guys. Yeah, I really like this bike. I think this is probably the best bike that Royal Enfield have got out at the moment. But thank you ever so much for joining us on our ride review today. If you've enjoyed it, go ahead, leave that like, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss any more videos on Royal Enfield motorcycles. Frasers have got a few more for me to have a go on, so hopefully I can bring those videos out to you sooner rather than later. But a massive thank you again to Frasers for letting me show this bike off to you guys. Before you go, don't forget to leave that like, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. And we'll catch you all in the next video. Everyone take care, ride safe, have a good one.